My in-laws were already drunk at the wedding reception, and they didn't even try to hide it. People around us whispered uncomfortably, but they ignored every stare and suddenly turned their attention on me. "It's too late now, you're already married," they sneered. "But if you want to be part of this family, you'd better prove you're worth it. Show us you have money." "Yes," the other added loudly, slurring his words. "Starting now, you'll give us $1,000 every month. Call it a bonus." For a moment, I couldn't breathe. I stood frozen, my ears ringing, my face draining of color. I couldn't believe they would humiliate me like this at my own wedding. Before I could say a word, my father stepped forward and took the microphone from their hands. "That's enough," he said firmly. "Do you have any idea how disgraceful you're making yourselves look? My name is Linda. I'm 30 years old, and I work a regular office job. I met Larry, who is 32, through a mutual friend who worried I'd be single forever. I lost my mother when I was very young, and my father raised me alone. He worked endlessly to give me a stable life, never once making me feel like I was lacking anything. Still, losing my mother left a wound that never fully healed. Because of that, I guarded my heart carefully and avoided serious relationships for years. I even convinced myself that being alone was fine. Then I met Larry. At first, I felt nothing romantic toward him, no matter how many times he asked me out. But he was patient, gentle, and consistently kind. Slowly, I let my guard down. Over time, he became someone I relied on, someone I imagined a future with. When he proposed, I said yes without hesitation. "I'll always be here for you," he used to say. "No matter what you're feeling, I won't leave your side. I love you." Those words meant everything to me. When I told my father we were getting married, he cried. "My little girl is finally getting married," he said, his voice shaking. "I'm so proud of you." Seeing him so happy made me believe everything was right. Before the wedding, I finally went with Larry to meet his parents. As soon as we arrived, my stomach twisted with nerves. "Don't worry," Larry said. "My parents are kind." His mother opened the door. She greeted Larry warmly, but the moment she turned to me, her smile disappeared. Her eyes scanned me from head to toe, cold and judgmental. "So you're Linda," she said flatly. In the living room, she didn't bother with pleasantries. "Larry is our only child," she said sharply. "Our treasure. If you're marrying him, what exactly do you bring to the table? Are you worthy of him?" Her words stunned me. "Are you prepared to join our family?" she continued. "This isn't a small responsibility." Before I could properly respond, she snapped. "When I ask a question, answer immediately." How rude. Trying to stay calm, I said, "I believe Larry and I should support each other equally in marriage." She scoffed. "How childish. A wife supports her husband. That's your duty." Larry's father attempted to soften the moment, but the damage was done. Then his brother entered the room, smiling politely. "What my wife said is reasonable," he said calmly, "but my concern is your background. You were raised by a single parent." I stared at him in disbelief. "There's nothing wrong with that," I said firmly. "My father raised me with love and dedication. I'm proud of him." They weren't convinced. "Without a proper family," his mother said coldly, "you couldn't have learned how to be a proper wife." Finally, she delivered her verdict. "I'll allow you to marry Larry, but only if you promise to devote everything to us. After all, we're his parents." I was speechless. That night, I confronted Larry. "Do your parents always speak to people like that?" I asked quietly. "What's wrong with it?" he replied casually. "They insulted my family," I said. "They humiliated me." He shrugged. "They were just checking if you're ready for marriage. They didn't mean anything bad." His words hurt more than theirs. "They've already given their blessing," he added, "so don't overthink it." He hugged me, but instead of comfort, I felt cold. For the first time, I realized something was deeply wrong, not just with his family, but with him too. "I'm sure they just want what's best for us," Larry said. "They want us to be as good a couple as they are. That's why they were a little harsh." "Oh, really?" I replied. Like he said, maybe his parents did have high expectations, but no matter the excuse, belittling me because I was raised by my father alone was unacceptable. People who spoke that way had no right to judge anyone's relationship. Larry and I were the ones getting married. Our feelings should have mattered more than their approval. With that thought, I chose not to dwell on it. I was still hurt, but I convinced myself to move on. Then the wedding day arrived. The hall was filled with guests, relatives, friends, co-workers, even our bosses. I walked down the aisle beside my father, the man who had devoted his entire life to raising me. As Larry and I exchanged vows and rings, applause filled the room. In that moment, the reality finally sank in. I was becoming his wife. I felt a kind of happiness I had never known before. At the reception, videos of our memories played as entertainment. Laughter echoed through the hall. I reconnected with friends I hadn't seen in years, and everywhere I went, people offered their congratulations. Despite everything that had happened before, I felt grateful. I was glad I had chosen Larry. I wanted this day to remain beautiful. After the ceremony, we planned to officially register the marriage. I treasured every second as the night went on, until the final segment began. Larry and I stood in line with both sets of parents to greet the guests. That was when my unease returned. Larry's parents swayed unsteadily. Their faces flushed red. They were clearly drunk. Some guests asked if they were all right, but the ceremony had to continue. The host handed us the microphone. Suddenly, Larry's mother yanked my hand away from him and shouted loudly enough for the entire hall to hear. "Listen carefully, Linda. After this wedding, you'll devote yourself completely to us. Get ready, we're going to test you thoroughly." Whispers spread through the crowd. Some people laughed nervously, thinking it might be a joke. Then Larry's father took the microphone. "Doesn't she look embarrassing in that dress?" he sneered. "It doesn't suit her at all." "Yes, tell her the truth," his wife added. The atmosphere shifted instantly. I looked at Larry, silently begging him to stop them, but he only shook his head. "They're not doing anything wrong," he said quietly. In that moment, I understood something painfully clear: he would never stand up for me. And it didn't stop there. "Well, since you're already married," his parents continued, "you need to prove you're worthy of joining this family. Show us you have money." "Yes," they added smugly, "after you register the marriage, you'll give us several thousand every month, and hand over your entire bonus." My vision blurred. I stood frozen, my face turning pale. I couldn't believe these words were being spoken at my wedding. That was when my father stepped forward and calmly took the microphone. "Enough," he said. "Do you realize how ridiculous you're making yourselves look?" Larry's parents glared at him. "Why are you interrupting us?" they snapped. I knew it. A single father raised her, no wonder she's like this. Single parents are never any good. I felt my blood boil. My father, still composed, replied evenly, "You refused to meet me simply because I raised my daughter alone. I never imagined people like you would work for President Scott. He's a respectable man. I assumed his employees would be the same." My father-in-law stiffened. How do you know President Scott?" "He's an old friend and a business partner," my father replied. "And by the way, President Scott was raised by his mother alone. So congratulations, you just insulted the president of your company." The color drained from their faces. "I'm sorry," my father-in-law begged, suddenly dropping to his knees. "Please don't tell him." Moments ago, he had acted powerful. Now, he looked utterly defeated. Laughter broke out among the guests. Phones were raised to record the scene. "No apology can undo what you said," my father replied. He turned to me and gently asked, "Do you want to go home?" "Yes," I said. I took the microphone from Larry. "Thank you all for coming," I announced calmly, "but there will be no marriage. I'll personally return every cent of the money given today." Then I walked out with my father. Behind us, chaos erupted. Later, word spread through Larry's workplace. His co-workers learned what kind of parents he had, and how weak he was for never defending me. The shame became unbearable, and he resigned. His father was demoted and transferred to a remote branch. Their relatives distanced themselves completely. As for me, I grew closer than ever to my father. One day, he asked me quietly, "Linda, would you like to run the company one day?" That question changed my life. I chose to focus on my career, not romance. I threw myself into learning everything I could. determined to prove myself. Looking back, I'm grateful the marriage was never registered. What seemed like a disaster turned out to be clarity. Now, I'm free, focused, and moving forward, stronger than ever.